Paris, June 17, 2006. A man sits alone at a cafe near Saint-Germain-des-Prés. For 8 years, he has not truly relaxed. Today, finally, he let himself. His phone vibrates against the saucer. A message from a brother. A man who would carry his coffin. Brother, go hiding. There is a spy among us. A link follows. Time magazine. A new book by an American journalist. He opens it paragraph by paragraph. The article describes a foiled attack on the New York subway, a hydrogen cyanide device the size of a paint can, a 45-day countdown, a specific cell, specific names, and the spy who exposed it was identified by his birth name. Every detail is correct. He is reading his own obituary in real time. A second message arrives. His MI6 handler. 1 line, 5 hours. Euro Air London. We don't yet know which side he's on. We only know this. In safe houses across 3 continents, men who would behead him on camera are reading the same article right now. They are already picking up their phones. He has 290 minutes to disappear forever. Why is he running from the men he swore to protect? And what did 2,920 days inside cost him? Khobar, Saudi Arabia, 1991. A boy stands at his mother's grave. His name is Ali Al-Durrani. He is 13. He has already memorized the entire Quran. In his community, this makes him a happy guardian of the text. He carries it inside him like a second pulse. His mother is dying of cancer. 4 months from diagnosis to grave. A boy without a mother does not know what to do with empty hours. Ali fills his with reading. He finds said Qutbah in the mosque library. Qutbah is the patron philosopher of modern jihad, hanged in Cairo in 1966 for his prose. The book is called Milestones. Grief reads it as gospel. By 15, Ali knows what he is. A defender. A man owed a war. The war finds him in 1994. He is 16. Bosnia is bleeding. Serb forces are killing Muslim civilians by the thousand. To a teenager raised on Qutbah and grief, this is not foreign news. These are summons. He flies to Cebu with a friend from his Khobar study circle, a quiet boy named Khalid Ali. Hajj. They are not soldiers. They are believers in rifles. He fights. He survives. And in late 1995, after the battle for Bzuka, he watches his own side execute roughly 50 captured prisoners. Beings. Ritual mutilation. Men who had surrendered. He buries the doubt the way young men bury everything they cannot answer. Under conviction. Near the war's end, a tall Pakistani approaches him. Quiet eyes, slow voice. The man does not give a full name. He says there is more to do and it is not here. The tall man is Khalid Sheikh Muhammad, the architect of every plot you have heard of and 3 you haven't. KSM does not recruit with promises. He recruits invitations. Ali accepts. August 1996. He arrives in Afghanistan. He trains at the Kuldan camp for weapons, explosives, and fieldcraft. But what gets him noticed is not his rifle, it is his recitation. He is a hain and there are not many in the camps. Within months, senior figures are asking who the Saudi boy is. In 1997, the summons arrives not to fight, to swear. He is driven to a compound outside of Kandahar. He is told to wait. He sits on a worn rug for an hour. He prays through it. The door opens. The man who walks in is taller than Ali expected. Softer spoken. There is no theater. Just a presence that bends the room toward itself, the way gravity bends light. Osama bin Laden sits across from him. Ali recites the bayat, the personal oath of allegiance. His voice does not shake. He pledges his life, his death, his obedience. He pledges them to the man across the rug, to the cause, to the war he believes he was promised the day his mother died. You should picture him at this moment, a 19-year-old Hafi. Both hands are on his knees, a ledger of grief and conviction balanced inside his chest. He believes every word he is saying. That is the part you must not let yourself forget. This is the most dangerous version of him he will ever be, because he is not lying. He kneels there as the most committed believer in the room. He stands up bound by an oath. He will within 3 years have to break in order to save. He does not know that yet. Bin Laden does not know it. KSM does not know it. The only thing in that room that knows is that the boy's own faith and faith are patient. It will wait. It will watch the men who took his oath. And when it sees what they are about to do with it, it will rise against them. What happens to a man whose faith outgrows the men he swore it to? And how do you betray your prophet without betraying your God? Kandahar Ali is no longer a recruit. He is a teacher. He runs religious instructions for new arrivals. He works the back office of jihad financing networks, charity fronts, money, quietly crossing borders inside what the leadership calls logistical operations. He sits in inner circle theological discussions where senior scholars debate which civilians can be killed and under what reading of which medieval text. He is good at it, too good. By 1998, he is one of Al-Qaeda's youngest religious authorities. Men twice his age defer to his recitation. Then he begins to see what he is not supposed to see. He meets the men working on chemical weapons research. He hears the leadership talk about scale, not embassy bombings, something larger, something that would not just hurt the West, but burn whole populations. He logs it. He keeps moving. August 7, 1998, 10:30 a.m. East African time. 2 truck bombs detonate simultaneously at the U.S. embassies in Nairobi and Dar es Salaam. 224 dead, more than 4,500 wounded. Most of the dead are East Africans. Many are Muslims walking to work. Ali is far from the blast sites. The blast still finds him. He goes to a senior Al-Qaeda scholar, Abdullah al-Mahajja, and asks the only question that matters. What is the religious justification for killing Muslim bystanders? Al-Mahajja is calm. He cites a 13th century fatwa by Ibn Taymiyyah written during the Mongol invasions of the Islamic world. He recites the core premise from memory. When an enemy army advances on a Muslim city and uses Muslim prisoners as human shields at the front lines, may the defenders still fight? Ibn Taymiyyah said yes. If the city falls, the entire Muslim community is destroyed. The shields are tragic. The alternative is worse. You may fire through your own people to save your people. Most recruits would nod. The logic sounds clean. The scholar is calm. The citation is real. Ali is a half. He goes back and reads the fatwa himself. He reads it once. He reads it again. The fatwa has 3 conditions. It requires a defensive war. It requires an advancing army. It requires Muslim civilians being used as literal shield between you and your destruction at that moment in that city with no alternative. Nairobi was not a city under siege. No Kenyan Muslim was being held at the front of an advancing army. No Tanzanian was a human shield between Al-Qaeda and its annihilation. The dead were office workers and market vendors who happened to walk past an American flag on a Tuesday morning. Ibn Taymiyyah was describing a wall with your own people pressed against it and the Mongols on the other side. Al-Qaeda took that wall, removed the Mongols, removed the siege, moved the location 6,000 miles, and called what remained the same fatwa. It is not the same fatwa. It is not even close. The men he swore his life to are not just wrong about tactics, they are wrong about Islam. They are using his religion the way a counterfeit uses paper for the look, not the meaning. And he, Hafi, guardian of the text, the boy who memorized every word so that the words could never be twisted, has been their seal of legitimacy. Every recruit he trained, every theological discussion he sat in, every time his presence in the room said, "A real scholar is here," and he does not object. The break is internal. It is also final. He cannot unread the fatwa, but he cannot leave. Al-Qaeda does not have a resignation policy. Men who try to leave are men who get buried in the desert. So he plans. He fakes a chronic illness and a kidney condition, requires specialist treatment. He books travel to Qatar. He intends to vanish into Doha, finding a job, keep his head down, spend the rest of his life apologizing to God in private. He lands at Doha International Airport in late 1998. He clears customs. He picks up his bag. 3 men in plain clothes are waiting at the curb. One of them addresses him by his birth name, Ali al-Durrani, not his cover, his real name. They are Qatari intelligence. They tell him calmly, "We know who you are. We know who you have been with. We know what you have seen. We will give you 30 minutes. 3 options: American intelligence, British intelligence, French intelligence. Pick." He does not speak French. He does not trust the Americans. He picks the British. He has in 30 minutes traded one oath for a different one. He has not yet realized that the new oath will require him to keep the old one alive to pretend the break never happened for the next 8 years. How do you walk back into the room you fled? And what is the price in years of pretending you still believe? December 16, 1998. Heathrow Airport, London. A young man walks off a flight from Doha. He is wearing a coat that does not fit the climate he came from. His passport is real. His destination is not on it. MI6 takes him, not in handcuffs, in a quiet sedan that turns west out of the terminal and disappears into the suburbs. They put him in a safe house. They give him a code name, Lawrence, as in Arabia. For 7 months, he talks. He hands MI6 on the inside of Al-Qaeda the way a crafter hands over a finished map. Financing channels, camp hierarchies, religious leadership networks, recruitment pipelines, names, routes, bank accounts in Karrak, charity fronts in the Gulf. Western intelligence has for the first time a full picture of what they are fighting. Lawrence earned his retirement before he finished his debrief. Then his handlers asked him to go back. He did not plan for this. He had planned for asylum, anonymity, a small flat in a cold country, a job in a halal market. The rest of his life owed to whatever God would have him. Instead, MI6 wants him to walk back into Kandahar. He asks for a day. They give him a day. He prays. He thinks about the men he met in 1998, the chemical weapons scientists, the strategists, the planners murmuring about something larger than embassies. He thinks about who else in the entire West is positioned to walk into that room. No one, not one. He says yes. In 1999, he flies back into Afghanistan. He resumes his life. He resumes his teaching. He resumes prayers and smiles. No one suspects a thing. The 7 months in London are erased the way sand erases a footprint in the desert. This is the impossible thing the audience must sit with. He comes back and they welcome him. The high returned. The teacher returned. The brother returned. He is not the man who left. He is something newer and stranger. A man wearing his old self like a uniform. He embeds deeper. He works inside Al-Qaeda's chemical weapons development program. Early stage poison gas dispersal. Prototypes. Engineering problems. He is a religious teacher in the morning and a weapons consultant in the afternoon. He files what he sees every night in his head, the way other men file their prayers. To Al-Qaeda, he is a trusted inner circle bomb maker. To MI6, he is the most valuable Western asset inside bin Laden's network. He is simultaneously both. He is at any given second indistinguishable from his own enemy. Through 1999 through 2000 into 2001, bin Laden is obsessed with Lawrence, reports it repeatedly. The man at the top of the network is talking constantly about what he calls the spectacular and attack on America beyond any prior scale. Lawrence does not know the date. He does not know the target. He does not know the method, but he knows the appetite. He warns. The warnings are filed. Without specifics, they cannot be acted on. September 11, 2001. Lawrence is somewhere inside the network. The precise location remains protected to this day. The first plane hits the North Tower at 8:46 a.m. New York time. The second hit the South Tower 17 minutes later. Around him, the men begin to celebrate. He must celebrate, too. He must clap. He must laugh. He must embrace the men who just murdered 3,000 people. If his face slips for a single beat, if a single tear is read wrong by a single set of eyes, he is dead before sundown. So he cheers. He smiles. He says the words you say when you are a brother in this room. Inside, something is being killed slowly. He does not know its name yet. How do you mourn 3,000 strangers while pretending to celebrate their deaths? And what version of yourself do you have to murder to survive that one morning? September 12, 2001. The world reorders itself. The United States invades Afghanistan within weeks. Al-Qaeda scatters. Camps are empty. Senior commanders disappear into mountain passes and Pakistani safe houses. Most of MI6 other intelligence sources go dark, frightened, killed, or simply unreachable. Lawrence's value triples overnight. He is one of the only Western assets still embedded in the dispersing network. He moves with it. He keeps his face calm. He is brought into a project the leadership calls the Mubtakar Al-Fared. The Arabic translates to the unique invention. The device looks like a paint can. Inside the can, 2 interior canisters. One holds sodium cyanide. The other holds a hydrogen source. A small remote fuse breaks the seal between them. The chemicals mix. They produce hydrogen cyanide gas, the same chemical family used in Nazi gas chambers. Set off in an enclosed space, it kills everyone in it. Lawrence helps refine the design. He is in the room when the engineering is finalized. He copies it onto floppy disks. On his next trip between the Afghan-Pakistani borderlands and the United Kingdom, he carries the disks. He hands them through MI6 to the Central Intelligence Agency. The CIA builds a working prototype. In early 2003, the CIA carries that prototype into the Oval Office. President George W. Bush picks it up. He held it for a long moment. According to multiple accounts, he says quietly, "Thing's a nightmare." It is. But nightmares are no longer hypothetical. Spring 2003. Lawrence learns Al-Qaeda has placed an operational cell inside the United States. They have multiple waqai devices. They have been casing the 34th Street Herald Square subway station in New York. Rush hour, multiple devices, sealed train cars, projected casualties, thousands. The countdown is 45 days. He reports immediately. The intelligence cascade lights up across 2 continents. Then, for reasons that intelligence historians still debate, Iman al-Zawahiri, bin Laden's deputy, personally calls off the attack. He sends a recall message through internal Al-Qaeda channels. The cell stands down. The devices go quiet. The trains keep running. Lawrence has just helped prevent a mass casualty chemical attack in New York City. Not a single person in his daily life knows. Not one of the men he eats with. Not one of the men he prays beside. Not one of the brothers who handed him bread at the table. He has saved thousands of strangers and cannot be thanked by a single one. The years compound. He works in Bahrain. He shuttles between London debriefs and Al-Qaeda meetings the way other men commute. He collapses one day from undiagnosed diabetes. He hides the diagnosis from both sides because illness invites questions and questions invite scrutiny. Inside the network, suspicion is rising. Plans have been failing. Cells have been intercepted. The leadership senses a leak somewhere in the program he has touched. They do not have a name. They have a temperature, and the temperature is climbing. One afternoon, 3 of his comrades began asking pointed questions. Travel timelines. On days he cannot fully account for hours that do not add up. The kind of questions that if pressed any further would expose him. He talks his way out. He does it the only way he can by leaning on the one credential they cannot challenge. Theology. He out-recites them. He out-quotes them. He becomes for 30 terrifying minutes more devout than every man in the room. He answers questions about his travel through verses they have not memorized. They let it go. He walks back to his quarters. He sits on the edge of his bed. He feels his pulse in his neck. He realizes something he has been refusing to name for years. He is one wrong sentence from being beheaded on camera. He has been one wrong sentence from being beheaded on camera for years. He has been doing this so long that the proximity of his own death has stopped feeling like a presence in the room and started feeling like the floor. You can live on the floor. You cannot live on it forever. How long can a man hold his face still before it stops being a face? And what after years of pretending to be the enemy is left of the man who started? June 2006, Paris. Lawrence has earned a vacation. The pressure has been climbing for 2 years. He gives himself 4 days in a city where no one is looking for him. On the 2nd day, the text arrives. Brother, go hiding. There is a spy among us. The link is a Time magazine excerpt from Ron Susskind's new book, The 1% Doctrine. He opens it. The article describes the foiled subway attack in stunning detail. The waqai, the cell, the 45-day countdown, the recall by Zawahiri. The level of specificity is so precise that only a handful of people on Earth could have provided it. Suskind names the spy. He uses Lawrence's name, Ali. He has not finished reading it. He calls his MI6 handler. The reply is in one line. 5 hours. Euro Air. London. He throws clothes into a bag. He pays his bill in cash. He walks. Not run. Never. Runs toward guard. He boards the train. He sits. He watches the French countryside blur past at 300 kilometers an hour. He is for the first time in 8 years not pretending to be anything. He arrives at London Waterloo in the late afternoon. His handler is on the platform. There are no embraces. There is only a quiet route to a quieter car. Behind the scenes, MI6 cables fly to Langley. Why were our assets exposed? The CIA's defense, according to Lawrence's later account, points at the office of the vice president. Suskind had been briefed by sources inside Dick Cheney's circle who wanted the foiled subway plot in the public record. A propaganda asset for an administration that needed wins. A man's cover was the price of a press cycle. Al-Qaeda issues a formal fatwa against him. Death is now a religious obligation for any of his old brothers who can find him. He goes underground permanently. New identity. Protected status in the United Kingdom. He marries. He raises children. He waits and then slowly the men who would kill him begin to die. May 2nd, 2011. Abad, Pakistan. A Navy SEAL team enters a 3-story compound at 1 local time in the morning. They find a tall man on the 3rd floor. Operation Neptune Spear. Osama bin Laden, the man Lawrence knelt before in 1997, is shot dead. The body is buried at sea within 24 hours. January 19, 2015. North Waziristan, Pakistan. A U.S. drone strikes an Al-Qaeda safe house. Among the dead is Adam Gadden. The American jihadi Lawrence had trained alongside in Afghanistan. The brother, who once shared his rifle. July 31, 2022. Kabul, Afghanistan. A CIA-operated MQ-9 Reaper fires 2 Hellfire R-9X Ninja missiles kinetic warheads, no explosive, into a balcony in the Sherpur neighborhood. They strike one man as he steps outside for morning air. Iman al-Zawahiri, the man who in 2003 called off the New York subway attack. The same hand that spared thousands of strangers ended with another hand 21 years later. Lawrence watches each death from his home in the United Kingdom. He does not celebrate. He notes the dates. The men who took his oath are gone. The men who would have answered the fatwa are gone. He is alive. He is the only person on earth who can tell what it was like inside that room in Kandahar, and inside the room on September 11th morning, and inside the meeting where a hydrogen cyanide attack on a New York subway was discussed and then mysteriously called off. He writes a memoir. He calls it 9 Lives. Most readers assume the title means 9 brushes with death. They are not wrong. They are not right either. The 9 lives are 9 versions of himself: the believer who took the oath, the recruit who trained at Kaldon, the student who confronted al-Mahajja with a fatwa, the exile who was met at a Doha curb, the asset who walked back into Kandahar, the bomb maker who built the Mubtakar, the witness who watched 9/11 from inside, the survivor who outlived the fatwa, and the man who was finally telling the story, the only one of the 9 who was allowed to live. Why did the men who took his oath all die? And he didn't? And what does it cost a man to be the only one left who knows the truth? This was never a story about who won the war on terror. It was a story about one man winning a private war with himself and discovering too late to undo it and too early to forget that the only war worth winning is the one nobody applauds. If this story keeps you thinking, there is another one that will finish the job. A DEA agent spent years running informants inside the most dangerous cartels on earth until investigators realized the cartels weren't just his sources, they were his partners. That video is on screen now.